Stupid as stupid does. These are the immortal and famous words of Mrs. Gump. Mrs. Gump, of course, is Forrest's mother. And I'm looking at Forrest and how he lived his life, how he was isolated, and he could have had mental health disturbance, but he went further afield and he stayed on his own and searched for what he wanted. Or he just found what he got, who knows. But I'm not actually looking at Forrest per se in, well, a personal way. I'm looking at the treed Forrest as such, because I'm looking at those things that Forrest himself experienced and more within the whole mental health realm. Today I'm looking at a particular study, and later on I'm going to actually delve into the Forrest myself and see, can I actually replicate or even improve on the study's outcomes. Now, this study involved those that had mental health issues. It was involving them in a group going for a long walk of exercise in a forest. There was 115 people in this particular study. Now, although these 115 people partook in the study and they were trying to get some sort of benefit, they had some underlying mental health issues, unfortunately. And these were three different issues. One was anxiety. The second one was the big old D, depression. And the third one was bipolar disorder. So these three particular issues can be interlinked. Somebody who has anxiety might be also experiencing or will experience depression. Somebody who has depression, for example, might or be experiencing, well, bipolar disorder. But they can also be separated and segregated and individualized as such. So you can have anxiety without having depression and depression without bipolar disorder. All of these people had one or the other of these things going on in their life. So when they partook in the study, they wanted to improve. They wanted to get a benefit. And they did. They voted. They thought that they got a substantial benefit from this particular study. So how can you get the benefit too? How can we all retrieve the benefits of a forest? Or Forrest himself. More about that a little bit later. Anyway, the benefits that they saw were substantial, as said. And there was, well, first off, before we delve into those benefits, we'll look at how they actually did it so that you can replicate it yourself too. They did it once a week over 13 weeks. They went on this forest group walk for that length of time. And during each session, what they did was they had a 2-hour session, a 2-hour window as such, where they met up with these people and got into the group and went for the walk. But the first 10 minutes was gentle exercise. Now, we're not talking about super high-class athletes here. We're just talking about gentle exercising, warm-up for ordinary people that have these mental health issues. So a 10-minute warm-up. So you can imagine they were probably around other people. They were probably in a group with other people who they knew already had some form of underlying mental health issue. They mightn't have known exactly what particular issue the other person had, but they knew that there was a like-mindedness going on there. Then the next 1 to 1.5 hours of the 2-hour slot was spent walking, just getting out there in the forest in the group with the other people. And the last half hour of the 2-hour window then, that they were given once a week for over 3 months, was just mingling and socialising and just taking it easy after the walk and having refreshments and such. Now this last half hour was the portion of time where the researchers delved in and asked these semi-structured questionnaires. Now, for you, if you haven't or don't realise exactly what semi-structured questionnaires are, it's really important to know, especially for this particular study, because 115 people isn't a huge amount of data, but it is very thick data when you consider that, well, the way it was done for the specific thing that they were doing. They were actively out walking, and as soon as they finished, as soon as they could feel that benefit, they sat and had an interview with a researcher. And in that research, they decided to use, well, structured questions. So an example of a structured question would be, how do you feel? And of course, the interviewer might be referring to how do you feel mentally, your mind after that particular walk. And the answer might be, well, I feel fine. I feel better, I feel uplifted, or whatever. Then the researcher might follow on and say, well, like, how do you feel? Like, you look well. What's how do you feel physically? And they might start answering and saying, well, physically, my legs hurt because these shoes are not, they're too tight. I just bought them new and it's bothering me. Now that bit of it's bothering me might elicit curiosity of the researcher, so they might delve a little bit further. They might wonder if it's a physical bothering or if it's mentally bothering them, so if their feet are actually affecting their mind and stuff. So this is where you get this semi-structured pattern going on. So it's really important that they interview people right after, and 115 people found these substantial benefits. But what were the benefits? Break them down. There was 3 in all. One was that it was an escape from life, an escape from ordinary life. This journey into the forest once a week was an escape from ordinary life. It was what it was. It was away from the humdrum, the pattern of life that can be welcomed because it's a routine, but at the same time become exhausting and overpowering. They found that just like being out there away from what they ordinarily did was beneficial. It helped their anxiety, it helped their depression, and it helped those with bipolar disorder also. Now, being away from the 9 to 5 for an ordinary person can be beneficial, especially if you go into a lovely green natural area, especially if you can have exercise, especially if you have people around you that are like-minded and are in the same boat and you can converse. But this was one of their main benefits, just to get away, to escape. So if you have mental health issues, imagine the escape you will feel, and imagine the benefit you will feel too from going into the forest and doing all those 3 things as well, extra. Then the second thing they found was, and it's not too, I suppose, surprising, but it's something we overlook a lot, and that is beauty. They found that there was beauty where they went in the forest, and that they welcomed that beauty. This beauty added to their feelings of being substantially benefited. And that's a wonderful thing. And there's beauty everywhere in a forest. There's trees and greenery everywhere. I can think of trees straight away. Trees. Oak, ash, beech. And there's more. 3 trees. Anyway, there's beauty, even in counting the trees and looking at the difference and the individuality of the trees, looking at the bark of the trees, looking at the complex design of a natural forest is beautiful for these people. Then their third issue, well, it wasn't really an issue, was it? It was the healing structural benefit of what came and added to this substantial benefit for them overall for their mental health, and that was that there was interesting things in the forest. Now, interesting things might also be beautiful in some people's minds, but not in others, and just because people have mental health issues, it doesn't mean to say that they all fell into the same bracket of feeling as if everything that was interesting was beautiful. Some people might think that insects are interesting, that they're just cool to look at, that they're so different from each other, and others might find it beautiful. They might find that, for example, insects give you a mindfulness because you can just sit and look at them and watch them encounter the big wide world of this forest, of how they need to challenge themselves and go in a much more magnified world than what you as a human being are in this forest. So if they can do it, you can do it too. And you can see that resilience that they have throughout their forest walk as well. So there's a difference in what beautiful is, what interesting is, and perhaps an escape is generalized. But either way, all of these things added up to a substantial benefit for those with mental health issues. Now, I don't have mental health issues, thankfully. I don't have anxiety or depression or bipolar disorder, but I know all about these things. And these things were benefited from a group walk in the forest once a week. So I decided to get out and about myself and see if I, as an ordinary citizen, could get a benefit on my own this time walk, because that's the thing with the study. There was a group, so I needed to go out on my own and see if I didn't have mental issues, could get some sort of benefit just from being out about, to see if I felt substantially better myself. And this was what I did. I went walking, I walked paths, I wandered paths, and when I saw the turns in the paths, I just wandered on. I came to perhaps at times 2 different paths meeting me, and I immediately had to make a choice. So I just chose to make the right choice and go where I could. Or at times I just wandered. Just went with my feelings, let everything loose and open. Be with the forest, be in the moment. And then there was times I just sat and wondered and let my head just do whatever it felt like doing. Just be myself. Be open, forget about things, escape from life. Just watch the beauty around me. And even if I didn't consider things beautiful, just look at the interesting things. Have this study in mind as I started, but then my mind just opened out. And I felt free. I felt also connected with the nature that was there. And that in itself was relaxing and gave me a good feeling of just being myself and being silent within myself as well. But what about the other Forrest Gump? Well, he was silent too. For many years he was on his own. And he had to encounter his own mental health issues. He was bullied many times. He had to run from bullies in school. Wherever he went, where it was the army, or if he was a ping pong champion, or meeting the President of the United States of America, again, he actually had different bullies in his life. And all he wanted was one person, his friend. So as he sought out his friend all through his life, he was alone, just like me in the forest. But I didn't find what he found. But still, I found peace. And that's the greatest thing ever. And mental health issues, if you have one, can be benefited from this. So thanks for watching. Until next time, please subscribe if you haven't already. If you have, thank you very much. Make sure you enjoy yourself, get out there, be free, be open, and be well. Have a wonderful day.